See, I've got my backpack on. I was going to move. Yeah, I'm on again. Incredible. Oh, that is a beast. I'll have to measure him, see how long he is. One of my favourite fishing strategies. Hi, my name's Roger Osborne. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you something that I do a lot, and it really makes a big difference to my fishing. It's got lots of advantages, and it will really help you with your fishing as well. Stick around to the end for a free PDF download, which will outline some vital keys from today's session. If you're enjoying my videos and they're helping you with your fishing, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It's totally free, really helps me make more content. Let's get into the fishing. I'm down in the lake today, and yet again, my choice of location has been based on the weather. The weather plays such a big part in my planning. I'm always really looking closely at the ocean, how big the waves are, what direction and strength the wind is. Also, whether you're fishing in a lake, it's not much fun having wind right in your face. It hinders your casting. So I've chosen a spot which in the particular wind today protects me from that. And I have with me, I've got several baits and I've got several different types of lures as well. So what I'm going to do first off is I'm going to throw my line out with a couple of different baits as set lines, and then I'm going to start prospecting with some lures, which are, I love it, it's awesome. And I'll be sharing with you what I'm thinking and all of the above. Just quickly, if you've been enjoying my YouTube videos and want to take your fishing to the next level, why don't you join my membership? You'll meet great like-minded people who share their local knowledge, learn smart fishing strategies, and gain the skills that turn frustration into confidence. The other major benefit is that I'm only weeks away from releasing my new app, Roger's Fishing Mate, which contains over 50 years of my fishing knowledge and experience. I can't wait to share it with you. Stop wasting money on trial and error and guesswork. Head on over to my website and check it out. Now let's get back to the fishing. You know, I can't help myself. I get so excited about fishing. I don't know what it is. I've just got such a delight and a motivation on the inside. It's so exciting. You know, you can catch so many different things, and I really always am, I'm just really focused when it comes to all types of fishing. You know, not in an obsessed way, just in a joyful way, in a good way. Oh, it's so cool, so awesome. So I've got several baits with me today. I've got prawns, pilchards, and some beachworms that I had left over. They're my three baits. Then I've got some soft plastics, I've got some vibes, and some hard body lures. How's that for a variety? I'm just going to enjoy this beautiful place and catch a lovely feed of fish. So I think first of all I need to get my lines out there with some bait on them. So I think I'll put a worm on this one to start off with, because it's got a worm hook on it. It's got a long shank hook on it, which will dictate. I could put a prawn on there as well, but I'll probably mix the baits up as we go. And I've got some pilchards that I'm going to cut into little cubes and throw them out as well. It'll be interesting to see if anything works better. One works better than the other. And it's amazing where I am. There's a piece of wood, just happens to be this random bit of driftwood. It's like a cutting board. It's awesome. I'm going to put this worm on the hook, but I notice there's a bit of dried bait on the hook. I'm just breaking it off because it would hinder the hook passing through the worm. It would hinder it going on. So I've just taken that little bit of old bait off the hook, and I'm going to start at the head of this worm and just gently feed it on. I always like to just gently do that. I want to keep the hook within the middle of the worm. You don't really need to expose the hook when it comes to worms because they're a soft bait anyway. Just break that off, and then you can see. Yeah, people often ask the question, they say, shouldn't you have the barb exposed? But no, not in a bait like this. The fish they're like lollies for fish, they just get straight into it. So I'll whack this guy out. I don't mind overcast conditions. At least you don't get as sunburned, I don't think. going to flip this guy out. We'll just see if we hook any brim or whiting or what wants to have a go at that. Always like to check the drag just to make sure that the fish is able to pull a bit of line if it's needed, so I don't put too much pressure on it. And now I'm going to grab, I think I'll do a prawn bait on the other one. So I'm just going to head over and do the other one with a prawn bait. In this case, I'm going to peel the prawn, so I've just ripped the prawn's head off. I'll chuck that out in the water. Somebody can have a sniff around that. Just peeling the shell off the prawn. See, I've peeled this prawn. Now this is actually a worm hook. I could do with a bigger hook, but it'll be okay. I might actually change the hook up later, but you can see I'm just threading that through onto the bait there, and then once again I'll put a little loop, a little half hitch around the end, which will hold that prawn nicely so it won't slide down the hook. And you can see that's a lovely bait, really good bait. Alright, so I've got a worm bait over there, going to whack a prawn bait out over here, and then I've got a soft plastic on my rod. That's what I'm going to start off with first. Just going to flip this out. Not too far, just out into the channel. Alright, that drag is nice, just a little loose, not too loose. Alright, now it's time to just relax and flick a lure. This is the outfit that I'm using to fish with lures. It's a beautiful little rod, it's actually 7 feet long. I've got a 1000 sized spinning reel on it, and I've got this beautiful little prawn-like soft plastic. You can see it's got lots of speckly colours in it. It's kind of a natural colour. I actually bought these on special, these particular ones, but I'm using 8-pound braid with a 6-pound leader, so it's pretty light, and my jig head is actually a 1/16 of an ounce, so it's a fairly light jig head. And it's only a relatively small hook because I wanted to match the hook obviously to the size of the lure. Then I've got some other ones I'm going to try in a minute as well. So while I'm waiting for my other rods to get a bite, I'm just going to do some prospecting. You know, with a really light jig head like 1/16, you need light line, otherwise you can't cast them very far. So I'm just going to walk out here a little bit. I'm going to start here in between my rods and just have a little fish. Yeah, I think the wind definitely makes a difference, having it behind you with your casting. And because the jig head's so light, it's going to sink pretty slowly. Just going to jiggle it. Yeah, I think I'm really going to use the wind to my advantage with this because the jig head is so light. I just want to be able to cover a bit more ground. Yeah, well, look at that bend. That is bending, man. Classic. This is on the prawn. Brim love prawns. This is only a light outfit, so it looks big, but we'll see how big this is. I reckon it's either a small brim or a snapper, a red brim, that's taken the prawn bait or am I wrong again? I tell you, I know it's not a stingray. Yeah, here it comes. This is a small red brim or baby snapper. Just bring it in. You can see it's a beautiful fish. Amazing colours on this fish. This one's only about 25 centimetres, so it's certainly undersized. But I love that piece of prawn. Oh. So we'll just watch this guy swim away. I'll just put him in here, you can have a look. Off you go, mate. Oh, he's in a hurry. Went between my legs. I better grab another prawn. Okay, well that was cool. Just need them to be bigger. Oh, those mullet. Are they mullet? I've tossed my line out to the left a little bit because I want to flick lures just here. I don't want it to be in the way. I think I need to check my other rod. I think it's had some bites. Let's leave this prawn bait here again. Pull in my plastic which has been sitting dormant. And just go for a little wander. You can hear those squeaky shoes, man. This had the worm on it. It's had a few bites. Yeah. Whatever was biting it swam towards me. Interesting. There's not a skerrick of bait on this. Look at that. Empty. Little tiddlers. I'll leave my drag just a little bit light because then if I get a run I'm more likely to hear it. If I'm looking at something else, if I'm not watching a rod, I can, oh, that's getting a bite up there. Oh, whoa! Oh, it's bent over again. Oh, probably another small snapper. Is it still on it? I think so. Yeah, got it. Do I have it? Oh, I think it got off. Well, it feels like I've still got some prawn bait on the end. So that tells me it's not a big fish. You can see my prawn bait has been pretty well hammered. The hook is exposed, but there's still a bit of prawn on there. I think I need to redo it. Oh, I'll toss this little bit of leftover prawn in to feed the fish. And I'll reload. I'm kind of burling roughly by chucking these goodies out in the water. It's not really specific burleying, but putting food out there is putting scent in the water to attract fish. Alrighty, I'll finish doing this worm bait. We do get a lot of blowies in this lake, or pufferfish, or toads, they're called by different names. So they can often nick your bait. Just watching that rod again. I think I've just got to let the fish hook themselves. Alright, back to tossing lures. I'm only going to fish with this one for maybe 15-20 minutes, see if I get a bite or not, and then I'm actually going to try a few different lures. I might put on a vibe next. The water's a little discoloured, and I think perhaps a vibe could be good. I'm going to position myself near this other rod. I heard a sound. I want to hear a consistent sound. I wonder if there's something on there. Yeah, it's a small fish on here. We'll see how big it is. Just getting a feel for it. Just to see if it's going to be... It's got a little bit of oomph in it. But this is pretty light line. What have we got here? It's giving some little shakes every so often. I'll just bring it gently up on the beach, whatever it is. Oh, okay, yeah, oh, look at that. No wonder it feels strange. I've actually hooked it upside down. Oh, how does this happen? How on earth does that happen? Poor fish. I'll be gentle removing the hook and letting him go. He'll be alright. Oh well, off he goes. That was a little tar wine. He was obviously having a bit of a play with that worm bait. In the meantime, I've changed lures. I've actually put a vibe on, and I'm fishing fairly light for the vibe that I'm using. I've only got a 6 pound leader, so I'm just going to be gentle with that, with casting it. Just going to take it easy. I didn't really get any action with that small soft plastic. I only had maybe 8 casts, which is not a lot, but I'm going to switch it over. Where I'm casting this is, it's probably out in front of me, maybe 3 meters deep, but to my right it comes up into a shallow sandbar area, so I'm actually casting to my right more towards where the deeper water starts to come up into the shallows, which is where you could expect to find whiting and brim and flatheads. So I'm casting to my right a bit, over towards that, where it's just starting to come up from the slightly deeper water into the shallower water. There's obviously a few small fish around, but there's always big ones in amongst the small ones. So you've just got to be patient. Alrighty, I think I'll check my prawn bait and then start tossing that vibe out. I think the fact that the vibes obviously have a strong vibration, when the water's a little bit discoloured, you know, not only do you have the visual aspect for fish, but you've got the sense or the vibrating aspect sending shock waves through the water, so I think that could be a good choice. The place I was planning on fishing this afternoon is like this. Oh, I've got no bait, I can tell. Yeah, well, they stole my bait that time. Nothing left. Okie dokie. Alright, I'll show you this lure that I've put on. Okay, my next lure is this little vibe. You can see it's kind of like an interesting colour. It's got blue stripes, it's kind of purpley with orange underneath. I'll be able to cast this a lot further than that little soft plastic. I think this one weighs 10 grams. So I'll definitely be getting more distance and I'll be getting that vibration feature. So I'm just going to have a play with this while my baits are doing their thing. I'm going to start up into the wind first because I'll be able to cast into the wind with this heavier lure. So I'm going to work my way around. Lots of little fish in the water. Yeah, I'm getting double the distance with the vibe. Just going to let it sink to the bottom. give it a gentle lift so I can feel those vibrations. Actually, having the wind is not so good. I think I need to be casting. I'm just lifting the rod so that I can feel that lure vibrating and then letting it sink to the bottom again. Then lifting it, getting the vibrations happening, letting it sink to the bottom again. Yes, a small fish, I think. A little tiddler. I hope I'm wrong. Oh, it feels like a tiddler mixed with weed. Or I had a tiddler and now I've got weed. Weird. Can't see anything yet. Yeah, I can see a small fish. I think I've hooked it sideways again. How is that possible? That's why it's coming through the water slowly. How is that possible to hook two fish in a row like that? Same type of fish. Just hooked in the side. Oh, well, it won't hurt him. Just wiggle it out and pop him back in. Off you go, mate. Yeah, there he goes. They must be keen. I haven't had a bite on that vibe yet. I've had maybe 10 casts. So I'm just doing a bit of prospecting. See, something big. We're due for a big one. I'm going to continue on with the vibe. But I mentioned to you at the beginning of the video one of my favourite strategies, which is really what I call the combo, or like the two-pronged attack. And that's where I go fishing with bait, but I fish with lures as well. So I'm doing two different things. While I've got baits in the water, I can improve my lure technique. I can practice my casting, practice imparting an action to lures, but it really is a fantastic way to fish because you give yourself multiple options. And I do that on the beach as well, where I'll take baits and then I'll have some soft plastics. I'll have a flick with those soft plastics. I learn a lot of things. So doing that two-pronged attack is a wonderful way to fish. It keeps you occupied, great for kids. You know, if kids get bored, put a couple of baits out in the water and then have some lures for them to practice with. You catch fish a lot on lures, and you catch them on bait as well. So it just makes a fishing trip exciting and enjoyable when you are doing those two things. And it's not difficult to take a couple of rods or have a few extra lures in your bag, really easy. And it can pay some really good dividends. So I'm going to continue to cast this vibe. All I'm doing is just casting in different spots, prospecting. I'll try with this for a little while longer, then I've got a couple of other lures as well. It'll be interesting to see if I do find something that actually clicks. That's how you discover things. Getting some little bites, oh okay. Might hold on to it for a second. Yeah, just small fish bites. See if I can hook it. No. That was just another little brim. It's having another go at it now, actually. I got it this time, or I had it for a second. I had it on for a microsecond, pretty small though, but I'll chuck it back out. I'm going to keep peppering that edge because there will be a good fish there. I brought just half a dozen pilchards with me as an option. I actually forgot to bring a knife, so I'm going to break its head off. I wanted to just put little chunks, so I'm just going to break it off. Break it into chunks with my hands like that. That way I can create 3 baits, and I'll whack one of them on. I'll just put a couple in here, and very simple way of putting a piece of pilchard on. All I'm doing is just pinning the hook through the meat of the pilchard, just a chunk of pilchard like that, and tossing that out. So I'm just going to pop this out and see how the pilchard goes. Pilchard's a great bait, really handy. I always have some in my freezer. Really good scent. Would have been good if I brought a knife, but not the end of the world. You can totally improvise. At least it looks a little bit more natural, not being perfectly cut. See what that does, eh? See how the scent works. I'm going to have a few more casts with that vibe. So far I haven't had a bite on a lure yet, so see how we go. So, alright, so I'm going to get back into chucking this vibe out. So far, yeah, haven't had an inquiry, but I'm just going to have a few more casts before I actually decide to switch to the next lure, because I haven't really covered all the ground yet, in this little spot anyway. And I can certainly cast a long way with the vibe. I'm just letting it sink. It doesn't take all that long because it's only about 3 meters or 10 feet deep. I know that from going over it in my boat with my depth sounder. I think something small has grabbed this. Probably another little brim. What have we got? It's going a little bit sideways down there. Have I foul hooked another brim? No, I haven't. I actually got a whiting this time. Look at that. Oh, come here, mate. I tossed it up on the shallows, which seems to be working lately. He's actually a decent fish. Not massive, but certainly eating size. Beautiful little whiting. So that's the first edible fish I've caught in this little session. I've caught a few small brims, small snapper. I haven't had a single bite on the lures yet, but I've made a start with this whiting, so we'll put him in the bucket. That's a beautiful fish. These are some of the hooks I'm using. These 4-0 hooks, I reckon, should be in every person's tackle box. They're a standard hook. They're useful for all sorts of different things. I love 4-0 hooks. I actually buy them in bulk because I use so many. Well, the shallows proved to be a winner with the whiting then. I've just been considering that because sandbars certainly are places that they like to sniff around, and often it can only be, 20 centimetres, 30 centimetres deep, pretty shallow, and you think, oh, would there be any fish there? But yeah, there are. So it shows you've got to kind of not just stick to the one thing, you've got to be willing to adapt and cast and try different things until you locate where the fish are. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to whack a couple of lines out in that really shallow water. It's only about 20 or 30 metres from where I am, and see if I can replicate that. So I'm going to move my rod holder along a little bit. I just measured that whiting, and while it wasn't massive, it was 29 centimetres, which is a couple of centimetres over the legal limit, which is good. Just going to walk a little bit further. right up to the corner here. I can actually see fish out in the shallows. They could be mullet, they could be all sorts of things. I'm going to wander out into the water a bit because I want to make sure that my bait, there's a bit of weed and muck in here. I want to get my line away from all the weed and out onto the sand. So I'm going to walk out here and then flick it right out into all the shallow stuff. Put this back in. Yeah, I can see a lot of action in the water. I'm tempted to try around the corner a little bit further as well because, yeah, I just reckon there's going to be a lot of fish out there. Here we go. Not very deep out there, but there's a lot of action in the water just over there. I can see all these fish splashing. They're probably mullet, but they can be often a combination of mullet and whiting. So I'm going to go and get my other rod, which has bait on it, and do the same thing, just to mix it up. Oh, look at that. Whoa. Wow, out in that shallow water, definitely got a good bite. Oh, definitely had a bite on this. No fish on the end, but okay. Looks like a good area. That sun is starting to come out. Should have brought my big hat. Ooh. I just saw a huge tail of a fish come out of the water over there. The question was that a big whiting or a big mullet? I can see a lot of fish in the water over to my right. I'm going to go for a little walk and see if I can sneak up on them and see what they are. I think they probably will be mullet. The fish were here a moment ago, but they seem to have disappeared. Oh, I can see fish, they're just out of my line of sight. I got a fish. Ooh, actually there's a bit of weight in this fish. This is incredible because I'm casting in water that is so shallow, it's ridiculous. It's actually, it's fighting a little bit like a flathead, but it's probably a whiting. But I tell you what, it's so shallow, incredible. What is it? It's a quality fish. Goodness me. I think it's a big whiting. Just going to bring it around. Oh. I literally cast this line into water that was 30 centimetres deep. It's only just hooked. I'm going to bring him up. Look at this fish. What a beautiful fish that is. That's a solid whiting, that one. I just washed the weed off him. But he's a ripper. Look at him, he's an absolute ripper. Oh, so strong. Wow. Gee, I learnt something there. casting out in the deep water, just getting little fish, toss up in water that's a foot deep, and you catch quality fish. That's amazing. Always learning something. Oh, that one's got one as well. Oh, I was thinking of actually moving along a little bit, but my other rods just had action as well. In such shallow water, I think it might be worth tossing my line out here again. Oh, I got a surprise then. This one's definitely probably got one on as well. It's oh, I'm just blown away how shallow it is. Let's see, I've got my backpack on. I was going to move. Yeah, I'm on again. In the shallows again. Wow. Shows the value of just testing and prospecting. I've had 2 casts here and I've hooked up on both of them. This feels similar to the last fish. Yeah, it's another ripper. Oh, I should see this fish. Look at him, and it just, oh, look at this fish. Wow. And it's come out of water that's barely ankle deep. Look at the size of this whiting. That's even bigger than the last one. That's where they are. Yeah, he's bigger. This one's getting up towards the 40s in length. Oh, look at him. That is an awesome fish. And you, oh, so strong. I'm just going to wash the weed off him. Oh, so strong. Oh. Look at the size of that thing that's seriously come out of water, maybe 20 or 30 centimetres deep. Incredible. Oh, that is a beast. I'll have to measure him, see how long he is. If you'd like a free PDF download of some vital keys from today's session, hit the link in the corner or in the description below. Okay, so we're going to put that there. Put that there. There, 43. How is that for a whiting? Absolutely awesome. Well, I just measured him, he's 43 centimetres, so that's very respectable, a 43 centimetre whiting. That's amazing. Out of such shallow water, I've got to chuck my line back out there again. And you know, it's interesting today, I'm doing my strategy of flicking lures and tossing some bait out. Now the lures have come up zilch today, and the bait has produced some quality fish, but it could have been the other way. So at least when you've got a couple of different things, it's enjoyable, it keeps you occupied, but you really broaden your opportunities to catch fish. So I'm going to whack those lines back out again. I can't not now. After that, they're sniffing around those whiting are sniffing around in the shallows looking for food in the super shallow water. I'm always mindful that I don't want to make a lot of noise when I'm walking. I'm walking out a little bit because I want to get this bait as far away from me as possible. And I've got a really light sinker so it doesn't travel all that far. Where am I going to go? I saw a stick out in the water. I don't necessarily... I'm going to use the wind to help me. Yep, I like that. I like where that landed. So now I'm going to whack the other one back out again, see if we can get 2 more of those cracking whiting. Now I know for the guys who fish for King George whiting, 43 centimetres is not that big. But when it comes to sand whiting, that's big. It's getting some bites on that one. Yeah, is it small or is it big? See, something's going on. Both rods have been getting bites. We just need the big one to swallow it, because both of those big whitings swallowed the hook. Now that one's going, I think. I'm seeing a bit of action. I've whacked these lines out there. This one looks like it's got something going on it. I'm just going to have a look. Am I hooked up? I'm definitely getting some stuff going on out there. The question is, am I hooked up? So I'm just going to I'm just going to hold on to this for a second. See what I can feel. I'm not going to pull it straight away. I'm going to just see if there's anything on there. Yeah, I've got something small, I think. Yeah, small fish. Not another big whiting on this one. Look, he's skipping across the surface. Oh. Just a little brim on this one. So he'll put him back. Then I think I'll check my other line, and it may be enough for me. I've got some beautiful fish for dinner. Some quality whiting. So I think I'll just check my other line. This one's been getting lots of knocks, but I think it's probably just small fish. Maybe those whiting have moved a little bit. You know, I reckon if I kept just exploring here and fishing, I'd catch more big whiting. But I think I've spent a little bit of time out here. I think it's time to get something to eat for lunch. Yeah, got most of my bait's been taken. So on that note, I'm going to call it quits for this session. But you know what? I've really enjoyed it. I've learnt some things yet again, just confirming to me how the shallows really are a great place to fish, and you can't ignore them. If I had have ignored the shallow water, I may not have caught the nice fish that I caught. So that's going in my memory banks for sure. So thank you guys for watching another fishing video. Trust you've enjoyed it. Thanks for your company, even though I can't see you over there in YouTube land. But thanks for joining me, and I'll see you really soon in another video.